Welcome to Sunday night Snug as a Bug story time. Thanks for joining me on this really rainy night. How's everybody doing tonight? I see you coming. I'm glad you're here. We have a great book to read tonight. Hi, Ryan and Allie. Hi, Faith. Happy rainy Sunday to you. It was just pouring over here. Hi, Carly. Hi, Emma. Hi, Anna. Hi, Macaulay. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Vivian. Hi, Everett. Hi, Levi. Hi, Eva. Happy birthday, Everett. Everett just turned 3. Hi, Charlie. I just ate some of your eggs today. Hi, Colton. Hi, Kate and Kayla. Hi, Noah. Hi, Luke and Charlotte. Hi, Jacob. Hi, Emma. Hi, Levi. You're all here right on time. All right, I think we're ready to go. Hi, Ada. My little story time buddy. All right, let's get going. So, let's do our checklist. Who's in their pajamas? Raise your hand. Do you have a blanket or a stuffed animal? Hi, Maddie and Alex. What do you have? I've got my sloth. Remember what he says?
I am smart, I am loved, and I am wonderful.
He says, I'm smart, I'm loved, and I'm wonderful. It's like my favorite thing in the world. Oh, you sprained your ankle, Colleen. I'm sorry about that. Okay, do you have your hoops in? Are you feeling cozy? It's a great night to feel cozy, right? Are you feeling snug as a bug? Let's get going, my darlings. All right, today I'm going to read you one of my favorite books, and I know that I say that about it's freezing on your end. I don't know what to tell you. It's not freezing on my end. Is it freezing for everybody? Am I freezing? Um, so this is a book that I've loved for years, and I looked inside to see when it was written, and it was written about 20 years ago, and I'm not ever going to get rid of it at the library because it's so beautiful. And it's called Albert by Donna Jo Napoli. And she writes picture books, but she also writes chapter books for when you get older. So let's look at this beauty, and she is it's illustrated by Jim LaMarche, and look at the beautiful detail in that picture. So there's he must be Albert, because the name of the book is Albert. And do you know what kind of, hi Rebecca and Andrew, do you know what kind of bird that is? It's a beautiful red bird on his head. We have one of these birds that comes into our yard every year, and I think it's the same family. We've been here over 20 years, and there's always this kind of bird who comes in our yard every winter, and he looks so beautiful against the white snow. And the male bird is bright red, and the female bird is kind of a dull brownish red. It's a cardinal, you're right, Colleen and Jacob. All right, so let's read Albert by Donna Jo Napoli. Okay, now here is the window, and he must live in the city because this window has what's called grill work. That's called grill work. It's metal to protect you from falling out the window. So when I say grill work in the story, that's what you have to picture. See how you can put your hand through it, but you can't go out. You can't put your body through it. Albert sat at his table, and he drank tomato juice. Did you ever have tomato juice? And he listened to the noises of the morning. Here he is. Oh, what is he having for breakfast? You can tell right there. I had that for breakfast today. Toast. And there's his tomato juice. He listened to all the noises of the morning. The people in the apartment above clattered downstairs and out the door on their way to work. And the dog next door barked hello to everyone who passed. Children giggled on their way to school. These were all really good noises. So Albert stood up and he worked his hand out between the grill work. He put his hand out. He wanted to check what the weather was like. The garbage truck rumbled by. Oh, that wasn't a good noise. Very loud. No, it's too cold, he said. He shut the window and he rubbed his hands to warm them. And then he sat down to read the comics. The next day, Albert ate lunch, and he listened to the noises during the day. The mailman sang as he hung his pack over his shoulder, and the snack vendor shouted out the day's special, golden bean cakes for sale. The flower lady laughed with all of her customers. These were good noises today. Very good noises. Albert went to the window, reached his hand out through the grill work towards a maple tree that he saw. How is the weather today? Two men walked past arguing. That's not a good noise. It's too damp. He shut the window, wiped his hands on his trousers, said, I'm not going to go out today. And then he took a pack of cards and he did some card tricks, balancing a card on his nose. Here's things that are going on in the town. Oh, what do you see coming? A cardinal. The next day, Albert put his hand out the grill work and he said, it's too hot today. And the next day, too breezy. Albert told himself that when the weather was just right, he'd put on his hat and he would go for a walk. And every day, the weather was really good at first, but after a moment more, he said, no, it's just not right. So Albert listened to baseball games on the radio, and he cut out pictures of magazines, and he wrote postcards that he was really never going to mail. So here's what's going on. Albert wants to go outside, but then something tells him, no, stay inside. He's a little bit afraid of going outside. He's just got a little tiny bit of a, he just feels like, I just want to stay inside. Maybe I'll go out tomorrow when it's nice out. And then the weather comes and he thinks of a reason why it won't be good for him to go. So he doesn't ever leave his house. So he does card tricks by himself. And what else did it say he did? He cuts out pictures out of magazines. He writes some postcards that he's never going to mail because he never goes to the post office. So that's pretty sad that he never leaves his house. Then one sunny day, Albert stuck his hand out the window. And the next thing he knew, a twig got dropped into his hand. Albert looked around in surprise. A cardinal flew by and he dropped another twig. And then there were two cardinals, a bright red one and a brownish one. And both of them kept dropping twig after twig after twig into his hand. What are they doing? What are they doing? Albert watched. He was dumbfounded. That is a really great word. That means he was shocked. Can you say that word? Dumbfounded. It's a silly word, but it means he was shocked. As he cupped his hand, and it got filled to the brim with sticks. The cardinals fluttered and they fussed and they poked and they pulled. They heaped grass into the center of the twigs, and finally, the female cardinal shaped the nest to fit herself in, and she settled in. Look at the beautiful nest they made. And see how he's not outside. He's just got his hand outside his window. Albert stared at her. Excuse me, bird, but my arm is not a branch. But the cardinal didn't even look at him. She flew off, leaving a nest of 4 tiny eggs in Albert's hand. With his free hand, he scratched his head. Well, if he pulls his arm in, twisting to get it back through the grillwork, the nest would surely fall apart. So what does he have to do? He has no choice. He has to stay there with that nest if he cares about those baby birds. And I think he does. He's looking down and he's saying, it's got 4 little eggs in it. What am I going to do? The mother cardinal came back. Albert stood with his arm out the window. Mrs. Cardinal, I think you picked a really bad spot to build a nest. But the cardinal just whistled and fell asleep. And that night, Albert slept standing up. See the little cardinal? She just tweeted, and it's where her house is now. You see him up here? The lights, the night is getting darker, the sun is going down, and he is still there. He has to sleep standing up because he cares so much about the baby birds. Don't you love the story so far? The next day, the mother cardinal kept her eggs warm, while the father cardinal fed her. Albert rubbed his aching neck. Oh, listen, I hate to disappoint you two, but I'm not sure this is going to work. The cardinals looked at Albert, and then they preened each other. It means they take their beaks and they kind of fix the feathers on the other bird. That night, Albert slept standing up again. The third day, Albert rotated his shoulder to get the kinks out. The mother bird flew to the ground, and she pecked at a little grub. Albert took a good look at the eggs for the first time. They were perfect sea blue ovals with little red-brown spots on them. The father bird flew down and he chattered at the mother bird, and she flew back to the eggs and sat on them. Pretty eggs, Albert said gently, and the cardinal gave a little chirp. Look at that beautiful nest. And his hand is holding it up. He's doing a good job, isn't he? So beautiful. Day after day, Albert stood with the nest in his hand. He began each day by watching the birds, and then he looked around. Once he saw a plane soaring overhead. His first urge was to be scared and pull that, because that's a loud noise, to pull his hand in through the window. But he had to keep the nest there. So he had to stay very still, and then he decided, I'm just going to watch that plane. So he watched the plane till it went out of sight. And soon he found himself dreaming about all the places those passengers were going to visit. And he smiled. Once a man and a woman came out of a building yelling. They turned their backs on each other, and they both walked off in a huff. Albert wanted so much to pull his arm in through the window because those were bad noises to him. But the nest was there, so he stayed put. About an hour later, the man appeared from one direction, the woman from the other direction, and each held a wrapped present for the other. They laughed and they hugged. And Albert dreamed about what might be in those presents. And he smiled again. So at first, when they walked away from each other in a huff, that was a bad noise, a negative feeling it gave him. But he waited long enough because he had to keep his hand out. And then, if those two people had an argument, they came back and they gave each other gifts, and they were probably talking about how they were really good friends to each other. Albert didn't only dream. Whenever the mother cardinal hopped off the nest, even for a moment, Albert breathed his hot breath onto one of the eggs to warm them. When she hopped off, he took over trying to keep them warm. And once when the mother cardinal was away, a cat walked along the ledge beneath Albert's arm. It flicked its tail and it looked up curiously. It crouched, ready to spring to get those eggs. Albert screeched and the cat ran off. And Albert just laughed. Now he's protecting. Look how he's got the nest so high. Hi, Howls. A week passed, and one morning when Albert opened his mouth, a little peep came out of his mouth. The father cardinal looked at him, cocked his little bird head to the side. But Albert peeped again. Now what happens when baby birds peep? What do their grown-ups do? The cardinal flew off and returned with a beetle. Look at the beautiful beetle. Albert wrinkled his nose when he jerked his head away. The cardinal ate the beetle. Then he flew off again, and this time he returned with a blackberry. And Albert ate it gratefully. And from that day on, whenever Albert peeped, the father cardinal fed him blackberries, and Albert smiled at the noises all around him. And the days passed. And here's the father cardinal putting a little blackberry in Albert's mouth. They're very attached to each other now because Albert's playing such a huge role in their life. On the 12th morning, Albert spied a crack in one of the eggs. He put his face to the grillwork so he could see everything perfectly. The second egg cracked, and the third, and then the fourth. The baby birds pecked their way out, wet and scraggly. Good work, Albert said. Welcome. Look at his beautiful, gentle face. He's so happy. Isn't he so happy? He's so proud of his birds. And there are those little babies popping out. There's one. Welcome to the world, he says. In the next few weeks, the mother and father cardinals fed their brood, including Albert, who learned to love seeds and berries, and even eventually he ate a beetle. The mother sat on Albert's wrist and she sang songs of joy. You see her? He still has the nest in one hand, and on the other hand, he's got the mother cardinal. Albert learned to love the seeds, he loved the berries, and even the beetles, right? The mother sat on her wrist and sang, and the father flew to the top of the maple tree and sang with all his pride. The parents whistled to the little babies, encouraging them to test their wings. Soon, the first baby left the nest, then the second, and then the third. But one stayed. He hopped up Albert's arm, and he pecked at Albert's nose. He looked worriedly at the ground. Go for it, birdie, Albert said. Fly. The fledgling looked down again, and he kept his wings close to his body. He doesn't want to leave the nest. And that's kind of how Albert was feeling, right? He knows what it feels like to be nervous, so nervous you don't want to leave your house. Albert stuck out his hat in front of the baby bird. Come on, he said, give it a try. The fledgling jumped into the hat. Fledgling, that's a little baby bird. Albert tossed him up lightly. He fluttered a little and he landed safely back in the hat with a little peep. Albert tossed him a little bit higher this time. He fluttered a lot and he landed back in the hat with a loud chirp. Albert tossed him high, high, high this time. And the baby looked around and he spread his wings. He flew to the maple tree and he whistled, and Albert smiled and he whistled back. And the nest now sat empty in Albert's hand. Albert drew his hand in through the grillwork and the nest fell. Albert looked at the grass and the trees and the sky, and he listened to laughter nearby. That's a good noise, he thought. And the siren of an ambulance far off. Oh, that's a bad noise, he thought. And Albert knew now that both were part of this big, wonderful world. You're going to hear good noises and you're going to hear bad noises. You're going to have good feelings in the world and you're going to have bad feelings in the world. And that's what the birds taught him. So he put his face up to the window and he felt the wind and the sun on his cheeks. And he said, just right. Albert smoothed his hair and he brushed off his hat. And after so long, he didn't even look like his old self. And he went for a walk. Is he going to leave his nest? Let's see. Now Albert walks often. And sometimes, just sometimes, when no one's looking, he flies. What goes on his head? The cardinal. The end. Oh my goodness. I love this story so much. I loved the artwork is so beautiful, isn't it? And I loved how, look at this picture. He got so attached to those birds. They were feeding him like a baby. Can't you just feel, can't you just taste that juicy blackberry? Do you see? He's been by the window for so long that he's growing little whiskers. Can you see his little whiskers? He hasn't had time to shave. And then look at his loving face. Do you see how the artist made his eyes look like this? So full of love and caring for those birds. Oh, beautiful, beautiful story. So, I loved the pictures. Hi, Kinley and Sawyer. I loved the pictures. I loved the whole message that sometimes we're afraid of things. And Albert he had a fear of leaving his house. He just wanted to stay home. And he was okay. He didn't mind it. But those birds taught him there's so many things out in the world. There's adventure, and there's kindness, and there's love, and there's gentleness, and there's sun on your face, and there's wind that goes through your hair. And there's also some things that are hard. There's also some things that are loud and annoying and hard to deal with out in the world. But what did the birds teach him? There's good and bad in everything, and there's good in the world, and there's bad in the world, and there's loud in the world, and there's beautiful quiet in the world, and there's really great loud sounds in the world, and there's not so great loud sounds in the world. But you have to get out and experience it all, and that's what those beautiful, beautiful birds taught him. This is one of my favorite stories. I loved how they got so attached that the birds fed him. Beautiful, beautiful story. I hope you liked that story as much as I did. It is, hi, Mayor. It is beautiful, beautiful illustrations. Happy Easter to you, Angie. All right, so let's talk about the week. Let's hope it's not going to rain tomorrow. Ooh. Tomorrow is Monday. We're going to start our week off in a positive way. So get up tomorrow. If you are going out into the world to school, stay focused and listen to what your teachers are teaching you, and be kind to all the kids around you. And then if you're not going to school yet and your school is at home, be focused, be focused. It's really hard, isn't it? But be focused and do really well tomorrow in your home school, and be patient with your grown-ups who are working so hard to teach you at home. And if you're around tomorrow morning at 9:30, come back here and meet me in my kitchen, because we are on eating the alphabet one letter at a time, and we are up to letter W. So that's going to be exciting. So that's it. That's it. Thanks for spending your Sunday night with me. It's getting dark now, so I'm feeling really, really cozy. So let's do our goodbye. We're going to touch our brains. And we're going to say how smart we are. I am smart. I am loved. What are you? Say it. Let me hear you over here at my house. I am wonderful. You are. You come with me, or almost the 2 years that we have been reading every Sunday night Snug as a Bug's bedtime stories. And every time you read, what happens to your brain? Oh my goodness, it explodes like fireworks in your brain. It makes you so smart. And we talk about how much I love being with you on Sunday nights. And if I'm having a really sad day, or if I'm having a really feeling a little grouchy, all I have to do is look at the clock and say, 7 o'clock. I'm going to have a smile on my face, and then I do, and then I feel so much better. And I think you are wonderful. So have a good night, everybody, and have a lovely week. And I hope we all get to see some sunshine. And thank you for joining me. And read to your children.